second, folks.
Spin it wide.
Oh, sorry about that, folks. Welcome to RRTV's live coverage of the Australian Online Supercar Championship, coming to you from Monza for round 14. We're going to be treated tonight by a 150k sprint race around this fantastic circuit. And before we get into the pre-race commentary, let's have a look at our commentary team tonight. It's myself, Bernie Wiemers, and I'm joined tonight by Adam Briggs. Welcome, Adam. It's your debut night tonight, mate.
Yes, Bernie, thank you very much for having me. It's definitely an exciting night. I'm looking forward to a great race here at Monza. It's a fantastic track that generates a lot of energy, and a little bit of nervous, but I'm sure we'll get straight into it.
Yeah, once we settle in, the nerves will go. But I tell you what, the drivers out there tonight, they will be feeling a bit nervous. We've got 60 V8 supercars here tonight, folks, and I tell you what, they're trying to find room on this circuit to get a hot lap in.
Yeah, it's a congested track here tonight. 62 V8 supercars. They're trying to either get a clean run or they're trying to get a tow. It's going to be difficult to do either, I think, Bernie.
Well, it certainly is, and we saw them when they come out of the pits, didn't we? They were having a real tough time of trying to get any space, but they're settled down now. They've been out there now, folks, for about 9 minutes, and if we have a look at our top 10 qualifying standings at the moment, Dane Warren, well, he's sitting on provisional pole, 147.599. Daniel Ackland is sitting in second at the moment, with Steve Lattimore third. Ross Rizzo sitting in fourth, and Thomas Hinds, he rounds out our top five. But if we have a look at the times here, Adam, there's not a lot between, probably 1.1 seconds from first down to 10th.
It's incredibly tight. That lap time is pretty impressive from Dane Warren. It's a good 4 tenths clear of Daniel Ackland, but the rest is incredibly bunched. Yeah, as you said, only 1.4 or so seconds, I think it was, between 1.1 in fact, between first and 10th. An amazing tight split in that top 10.
Yeah, it certainly is, and just having a look at what we're going to see tonight, folks. So let's go over and have a look at these slides now, and then we'll come back to live pictures. But let's go over and have a look and break this down for you all here. I'll just try and get a decent picture here. My goodness me. Well, those slides are crap, aren't they? But anyway, hang on a second. I'll try and fix it. No, hang on. Okay, we'll go back to live pictures, and then I'll see if I can sort this mess out. God, you've got to hate triple screens.
Oh, it can be very complicated getting the right window focus, that's for sure.
It certainly can. It's I may not even bring the screen up. I think we'll just talk about it. That might be the way to do this. So let's have a look tonight, folks. While you're watching the pictures, we'll go through it. So tonight, what you can expect, it's a 150k sprint race, 26 laps around Monza tonight. The fuel capacity here, 75 litres, so we'll expect them to make one stop. Now, as always, fuel is mandatory, tyres are optional. We'll probably see most of the guys opt not to take tyres, but we'll see how they go here. Incident limit tonight is going to play a big part in this. 25 incident points are available to these guys. They get one fast repair from what I understand. The other interesting thing here, Adam, is the random safety car. Now, basically, if these guys can get in a couple of laps without a massive accident happening, like in the first chicane, a random safety car will be called during the event. Now, only the race control knows that. It's been generated by a computer, and when that lap hits, that is when the safety car comes out, regardless.
If it comes out at the right time, Bernie, it can really throw people's pit strategies into a bit of disarray. One of the graphics produced by the promoters here tonight suggests that the pit window will be between what we believe to be lap 12 and potentially lap 14. if that safety car occurs roughly at that time, people might have to do a fuel saving towards the end of the race, which will be very interesting to watch. So we'll see. It may throw a spanner in the works for some people.
Yeah, it definitely will. It's going to be interesting, isn't it? We've got that overlay up now, and as you're saying, 12 and 14 is that overlap of the strategy, and there's not much of a strategy, is it? It's going to be depending how much they start with, and there's only a 2-lap difference. But I tell you what, Adam, if a safety car comes out, which is guaranteed there will be one, it really throws a spanner in the works for these guys, and it also adds for some great drama for us in the commentary box and our viewers at home.
I think Monza generates a lot of interest always, but having that random safety car is just going to be, particularly if it occurs, say, lap 11 or lap 13, is just going to be an extra bit of spice on the race.
Yeah, it certainly is. And if we have a quick look at the non-endurance standings as they stand here now, folks, the people or the key drivers for the Sprint Championship, Marlon McMullen, he's leading the series at the moment on 2,425 points, but Dane Warren, he's been unstoppable in the last few rounds, and he's only 460 points behind and closing rapidly. If you look at the stats there, Dane Warren, 6 wins out of 10 races and a top 10 out of 8 of those races. So he's got a 60% hit rate of winning a race and a 80% hit rate of a top 10 finish. And if we look at Marlon McMullen's stats here, over 14 races he's had 3 wins and 13 top 10 finishes. So if you do your maths there quickly, he's running at around about 2.5% hit rate of taking a win here.
Consistency wins championships, and both these contenders definitely have great consistency. Dane Warren, I believe, is in a very good position at the current qualifying session, so he looks to continue his charge tonight, and I think it'll be very interesting to watch how it unfolds.
Yeah, it certainly will, and all things are going to interesting times here. We've got 5 minutes to go. I'm trying to find us our hot lap, which Nick Hausler was good enough to put together for us. So we just grab that for us, and we will go to that very shortly. So let's see if I've got this here now, folks. Sorry, I'm as organised as I always are here. But let's go over to the hot lap and listen in as Nick Hausler tells us all about Monza.
Well, after a week off, welcome back on board the 015 Stealth Sim Sport Falcon this week. Dan, I know you were hoping for the Commodore, but no, we're sticking with the Ford this week. We're into round 14 of Season 3 now, so we've only got 5 races to go, including this one, so getting right down to the business end of the season. We've got 26 laps around here tonight, so 150 kilometres. Around the 11-turn Autodromo Nazionale Monza, or as we all know it, Monza. As we're out on our outlap here. Oh, God, just sorry, a bit deep there on cold tyres. I probably should have put the pressures up just a little bit. But anyway, back on track and back around it. 11 turns around here, 5.8 Ks, as we just head around the Lesmos at the moment on our outlap. Not a lot to say too much about this track. It's fun, it's fast, fastest track that we race on, with a hell of a lot of 100% wide open throttle. Just as we come into Ascari here, it's a corner you can take a fair bit of curves on as well. Once again, don't necessarily look at me how you take it, but I jump into fourth early there because it's very easy to get the tail out on exit. and end up in the left-hand wall. So we're coming up to the final corner now, up to Parabolica. Let's see how we go. Been out of the saddle for a little while, haven't done too much racing in the last month, so they're normally lukewarm. I'd hate to think what this one's going to be, but let's go. As we head down the front straight, known as Rd14, down towards Rd14, the very heavy braking. Looks like I've pulled it up nicely, second gear around there, hit the apex. We've got a slower car who's moved over for us. The exit of Rd14 is very important because you come round Curva Grande flat out into an overtaking opportunity into these chicanes, and if you get a slow exit there you can be vulnerable as we come in here. Hopefully we'll get it right rather than the outlap. And yep, hitting the curves, taking a fair bit of curve there. Cars riding the curves quite nicely here this week for us. As we head into the first part of the Ascari, you can take a bit of that, but you can get it off track if you go too far right there, even though you've got two wheels on the black stuff. And again, a very important corner here, the second Lesmo, as you head down the back straight. As I said, very important as you come through here and into Ascari. We'll see if we can get the apexes right there. Yeah, bit of curb. Back up into fourth gear so we don't get too much tail spin coming out there. And down the short back straight into Parabolica. I'm not going to tell you how to take this corner because I'm not really sure myself, to be honest, other than third gear, and you want to get it wide open throttle as soon as you can to get the run back down the front straight. And there we go, there's a lap of Monza for you. Unfortunately I won't be racing tonight, but best of luck for everyone out there on track, and I'll hand it back to Bernie and the crew at RRTV.
Fantastic, thanks for that, Nick. And of course Nick's still recovering at the moment, so hopefully he's on the mend and we'll see him back out here on the track very shortly. But while we were watching that, Adam, the qualifying has come to a close, and Dane Warren, he's got pole position at 147.599.
Excellent lap. P2, Nick Cummins is a further 2.5 or so tenths behind him. To be that clear of such a quality field is actually quite a stunning lap.
Yeah, it certainly is. We see Nick on the screen at the moment, and he's not on a fast lap here, as you can see, folks. The time 8 minutes 35. He's just coming out, and the checkered flag is out. But the other one, Marlon McMullen here, he was on a fast lap. He got balked and into the wall very hard, so he's going to be starting from 6th. He's just dropped down. Steve Lattimore has jumped up into 5th. Daniel Williams, we can see him out here also. Keep an eye on him tonight. Exciting driver, starting from 7th, and he's not on a flyer. We don't have that many out there, really. They're just pretty much going through and warming their tyres up and checking their settings and all that.
Yeah, I mean, just having a look as Jamie McKnight, number 27, has a massive moment exiting our Ascari there, but there's not too many guys out on track right at the moment. Obviously, the session's winding down, so a lot of guys have already got their laps up on the board already.
Yeah, they certainly do, and just having a shout out here, we've got George Gibbs joining us once again from America. Well, welcome, George, and hopefully it's not too early over there for you, mate. And of course, Duckman's back, mate. We are ready for your challenge tonight. He won't remember the challenge you watch, Adam.
Well, it'll be. There are a few classic liveries out there, and I think it's going to be really good to see them out on track. It's always good to see different liveries and just to spice up the visual aspect of the race as well.
It certainly is, but let's go through this grid. It is a huge grid, 60 cars here, folks, so bear with us, it may take us a little while. We may not get through the full grid, depending how quickly these guys grid up. So, Dane Warren, he'll start from pole position. 1:47.599 was his time. On the front row, he's joined in second with Nick Cummings. Starting out of the second row tonight, we have Daniel Ackland in third. Ross Rizzo will be joining him, starting out of fourth. Out of the third row, Steve Lattimore, and he's joined by Marlon McMullen in sixth. Out of seventh tonight, we have Daniel Williams. Then we have Thomas Hinn starting out of eighth. Duran Nakora, he'll start out of ninth today, and he'll be joined on the grid by Ben Twydale in 10th. Thomas McMillan, he's going to start out of 11th, and out of 12th is Benjamin Smith. Go, mate.
We have Craig Jones in position 13, Peter Sattler from position 14, Jamie McKnight position 15, Jacob Knight in position 16, Henry King position 17, Brian Borg 18th, Paul Preston in 19th, and Mark Samuel rounding up the top 20 in 20th.
Yeah, out of... I've just missed it. God, I'm having a bad night. Pete Sattler, he's going to start, I think, out of 21st, but let's jump down to 25th. Cody Trainer out of 25th. 26th, Paul Tajavara. 27th, Sean Thompson. Abby Putra will start out of 28th. Great to see Abby back. 29th is Wayne Taylor. Starting out of 30th tonight will be Wayne Pengilly. Out of 31st is Brendan Jackson. 32nd is Matt Leboydovan. Then we have Jaden Borg starting out of 33rd. 34th, Daryl Hockey. Starting out of 35th tonight is David Kinmond, and out of 36 is Matt Morris.
37th we have Philip Piggott, Christopher Cassie in position 38, Kyle Stokes in position 39, Shannon Mason from position 40, Liam Tipping in position 41, James Scott coming out of position 42 tonight, Jonathan Ben in position 43rd, and Brenton O'Brien position 44. We also have Tony Gaffer from 45th, Matthew Collot in position 47th, and I think we're close to a start here, Bernie.
We certainly are. We're under green now and lights are off. Sorry about that, folks. We're just trying to get through this grid tonight. 26 laps remaining. A few slow cars on either side. But, we've got a car around already. One of the Thrustmasters, I think that was Brian Borg. And we've got the Zuva car. There is chaos up the back here, folks. The track is blocked. And I'd say we'll be under safety car straight up, which we are.
There's a good 6 or so cars that I can count, Bernie, that have been involved in that one. One of the Progression Racing Australia cars too, car number 29 with massive rear bumper damage. I think there's also another one of the Progression Racing cars involved too, although I didn't quite grab a number there.
Yeah, we're going to jump back to this replay and we're going to try and have a look at what has occurred here. I did see Brian Borg go around and I'm just trying to get pictures here for us, folks. So yeah, as always, the telemetry didn't pick it up, but that's what happens when we've got so many. But Brian Borg, I saw him go around. The Zuva entry was also involved in that, and we'll try and give you a list of those cars affected very shortly. It's under yellow, and it didn't last too long, did it?
No, straight into action. So obviously people are trying to make up positions in first turn, maybe, we didn't even get to first turn. I think that's quite a remarkable thing, actually. Safety car already, which will play into the hands of people who want to run a longer strategy, maybe do some fuel saving.
Yeah, well, it's a bit early now, isn't it, to take fuel, although they could, because the 75 litre limit only applies on the start line, of course. Now they could go in and fill up if they want, and run to the end if they chose, and it'll be interesting to see if any of them do that. You can see Dane Warren now coming around, and for the viewers new to the series, the way this works in AOSC is when the safety car comes out, they'll go around, they'll queue up behind that safety car, and the pit lane is closed. Second time through, the pit lane will be opened and they can take service, but the third time through the safety car's back in and we're back to racing, so they really only get one option to take that pit stop, otherwise it's going to be under green.
Actually here, I think Dane's actually coasting down the main straight with his clutch in, so obviously he's fuel conscious. Yeah, obviously not a whole lot of action under a safety car, Bernie, but it's disappointing that we couldn't quite see the lap 1 duo and hustle and passing opportunities. But it does change the race slightly with the random safety car as well.
Yeah, well, we may not see that now because it came out, but having a look at the cars, the walking wounded out here, you can see them all trying to come into the pits now to take service, but we can see Shannon Mason, I think he started from pit road, which is probably a wise move there. You can see the number 4, he might have been involved, but Christopher Kessie, have a look at the Melbourne taxi, as I call it. He's missing the front, he's missing the back. Well, he's missing the back anyway, and he's just trying to wait for pit road to open. Matt Morris, he was also affected. You can see him now coming back out. David Kinmont, the list goes on. Matt Morris was involved in that accident. Matt Lepoidovan, that's a car we saw at the start going around. I thought it was Brian Borg, but it was Matt that was in at the start of that. Well, I think he was the one that got turned and everyone ploughed into him. Daniel Stevens, he was involved. Philip Piggott, David Miller for Redback Racing, and that's a retro livery that's probably seen better days. And Jason Bentz. Well, what is that car? I can't even read it anymore, but looks like he's not going anywhere tonight either.
Yeah, I'm surprised he probably hasn't used his fast repair, but I think we've got one tonight, I believe. But yeah, he's obviously missing a bonnet, some guards, and all sorts of panel work missing from his car there. If he's having to actually repair that, it's going to take some time, I think.
Yeah, what can happen, and we've seen it a few times, is the guys don't have the fast repair ticked on, and they do that in case they have minor damage and they want to come in and save that fast repair. But of course, if they don't remember to turn it on and they get a quick tow back, then there's no fast repair. You can't turn it on once you're in the pits, and if you've got a black flag, you're not going to be going anywhere, so it's a very costly mistake.
Yeah, he might be there for some time yet tonight. He obviously, I think he had a reasonably poor qualifying run. I don't think he actually lodged a lap, so he started from pit lane as well. So unfortunately, he's had a bit of a tough night.
Certainly has, and here comes a field. This is their opportunity to come in. What are they going to do here? We're having a look. Dane Warren, no, he's staying out, and we'll try and get to a wider view here and find out if there are any takers. You can see the field coming through now. They all seem pretty happy at the moment, and there goes a Zuva entry trying the old NASCAR bluff, but it's quite funny. People do it. No one falls for it.
Yeah, you see it in oval racing absolutely all the time. People do the fakie. I've been guilty of it too a couple of times just for giggles. I haven't had anyone take the bait ever, unfortunately.
Well, someone must have taken the bait at one point. Now, the challenge, a few of the viewers have said, well, what's this challenge we had? Last week, we were doing a bit of a survey, you could say, with Duckman, and he got 2 out of 3, but the challenge is for us tonight, Adam, if Duckman will tell us which car it is, within 5 laps, we have to guess what retro livery that car is carrying, and if we get it right, well, we can brag for weeks to come.
That's fantastic. I do absolutely love some retro liveries. Obviously, some of the series have a key night where retro liveries are put into place. They're always great to watch, and look forward to see which car it is.
That's right. We were having a look at before we went on air, weren't we? At a few of those cars out there and trying to guess them. So it'll be interesting. We'll see if there's any takers here, and we'll, at least it'll liven up the broadcast a bit, because these safety cars around Monza tend to drag on a little bit, don't they?
do. It is a long circuit. It's a Grand Prix circuit. The safety car travels at a very pedestrian pace, and while it's good to be able to have a break to talk about the cars, the sponsors, their liveries, we'd love to see them racing as well.
Oh, definitely. I'm just rebooting our overlays because they seem to have died, and it's quite interesting. The overlay software package we're using here, folks, when we have 60 V8 supercars, it stretches the telemetry to the absolute limit, and it makes our software crash quite a bit. So let's hope the old software hangs in there. We're of course going to be replacing it as of next week. We're just ironing out some of the little niggles with the new software we're going to.
Great to hear. Obviously 60 cars out there is the fullest extent an iRacing server can support, so my timing software is hanging in there pretty good as well, but yeah, definitely when you've got 60 cars out there, it tests everyone's internet connections, and it also tests everyone's patience as well, Bernie.
Certainly does, and we're about to go back green, but here's our challenge. The car we have to guess is the 013, folks. Tony Kleeman is driving that car, aka Duckman, and it is the Synovus Banana Boat Ford Falcon with Alan Moffat on it. 5 laps. Let's start the clock.
Well, I reckon it's an early V8 supercar, Bernie. I'm feeling one of the foundation years of the V8 supercar championship, I think.
Yeah, it's have a look. We are going green here, folks, so we'll get back to that shortly while we call this race. But at the moment, Dane Warren leads the field through. Nick Cummings will start from second. Then we've got Daniel Ackland, Ross Rizzo. As you see, the massive field coming through. Some of them back there are 3 wide, 4 wide as they come into the chicane, and all of a sudden we're in peak hour traffic back here. And this is where they've got to be careful, isn't it? Because they'll concertina up, and you get that old peak hour traffic, nose to tail incidents.
Yeah, this is the danger point. So people can make a mistake that can actually affect the rest of their race right here, right on the safety car restart. There's a little bit of passing going on. I think Stephen Lattimore, I think at the moment was in the thick of the battle. It's just headed out a little bit now.
Yeah, there's a bit of chaos back here with a few of these cars. We saw one of the MFR cars go around at the chicane, he got turned, another one followed. But having a look at the car on the screen at the moment, Darryl Hockey, tell you what, that Next Level Racing Pagny Import sponsored, whatever it is, I think it's a Falcon, doesn't look that healthy, does it?
Missing a boot lid, missing a wing, that's going to be difficult to drive, I think. He's hanging in there pretty good at the moment. He's in a tight-knit battle pack of about 5 or 6 cars there, but he'll be trying to limp that thing around for the rest, well, until his pit stop probably, where he can take service and hopefully a fast repair.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, we've found with the V8 supercar, it's reverse as far as the handling modelling of this car goes. It tends to, if you knock off the boot and the bonnet, it tends to make the cars go faster.
Well, that is an unusual thing, isn't it? I wouldn't have anticipated that, Bernie. Normally, I bet if I did that to my road car, it wouldn't go so well.
Well, no, you can try if you like, but we can see now the Race on Oz entry coming through. That's Benjamin Smith. Boy, has he got his mirrors full. He's got Ben Twidale behind him, Craig Jones also 2 wide right behind him, fighting for position. This is down in 12th and 13th as they go side by side into the chicane down here under brakes, and I think they've sorted their positioning out now, and they have, but of course we've got another car off into the fence. That's might be Daniel Williams, I think it is, Daniel Williams.
Didn't quite catch the number there, Bernie. It's all happening so thick and fast, 60 cars.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. don't think he's made it back on track yet. I haven't seen him pop back up yet, Bernie.
Yeah, it's a number 313 in position 34. So we're just having a look at this replay now, and he was travelling really well, and Daniel's one of the fast chargers out here, but he's got caught out. And this is the challenge, isn't it, with Monza? It's a fast track, but it's heavy braking, as we can see now under brakes. He's just turned it around all by himself. I think he had, I'm trying to get the number of the Falcon or the Commodore in front of him that might have balked him, but yeah, around he goes.
Yeah, look, massive braking zones. It means a lot of passing, but it also means large opportunities for accidents just like that, Bernie.
Yeah, but let's jump back up to the front here, folks. At the moment, it's all Dane Warren. He's got 2.4 seconds gap over Ross Rizzo and Daniel Ackland. These guys are fighting for position. And then Marlon McMullen. Remember, he's leading this championship. He's sitting in fourth position tonight, and he'll be quite conscious of trying to get past these cars to close down the points deficit he may lose here tonight. But as I was saying before the broadcast, Adam, once Dane gets out in front, he's really hard to catch. He just goes.
He's opened up a very, very commanding gap at the moment, while his championship rival, Marlon McMullen, is battling with Daniel Ackland over position at the moment. Daniel Ackland, I think, has slipped back one position just since the last lap, I believe. But he's in that 4-car battle pack. He's the 3rd car in. He'll be wanting to get past the 2 guys in front of him to protect his championship advantage.
Yeah, definitely. We're riding with Marlon McMullen right behind Daniel here. And you can see him just closing in under brakes and back on the power here. This circuit is rather unique in many regards, but I think it's well suited to the V8 Supercar.
It is. The V8 Supercars may not be the best car under brakes, and that means their braking zone is actually longer than most, and I think that actually increases passing opportunities myself. A longer braking zone means that there's more opportunity to actually have a crack at getting down the inside of a car, and that's exactly what this track provides, is braking opportunities and passing opportunities.
Yeah, it certainly does, and the challenge is these heavy braking areas. As you can see now, Marlon McMullen on the inside, got Ross Rizzo, Daniel Ackland, Marlon McMullen, Steve Lattimore all fighting out for these positions. Marlon got a bit of a wobble under brakes there, but he gathered it back up, and that is the challenge, isn't it? You're going from top speed, and we'll get the Speedo out next, all the way down to probably first, second gear, probably a second gear corner under heavy braking, and if your brake bias is wrong, you're going to go around.
Yeah, a lot of these guys use a lot of rear brake bias, and if they downshift just wrong and they accidentally lock the rear ears during a downshift, it can be really a handful to get into the corner.
Yeah, it certainly can be a very big handful indeed. Now, getting back to our challenge, folks, on the Tom Kleeman 013. I just had a look. He's actually, he was in the pits. He still is in the pits. We'll see if we can get a... No, he's out of that car. Well, that's easy to guess. He's retired.
I think it's. I think he's back out on track. I think there, Bernie. I think it just might be 62 cars. Obviously, we get a lot of stuttering sometimes with the server, I think.
Yeah, it's the telemetry coming from the server. Us trying to. There we go. So here's the guess. Tom Kleeman's 013 car. We're about 3 laps into this race, so we should have a stab at it. Before we do, though, a couple of our viewers have had a crack at it. Disengage NZ said 1993 EB Falcon. Skylines Style 101 says it's a 1996 Alan Moffat EB Falcon. And they're the 2 guesses. Now, you were saying it's an early V8 Supercar era, was that right, Adam?
Yeah, I think it's probably maybe the first or second year from the transition across from Group A, I reckon. I believe I may have seen an article about this particular livery in the car that it was put onto. I could be wrong, but I'm fairly confident it's the 91 Alan Moffat car. I'm fairly certain.
Yeah, I think you're right there. It's as far as I know, it's a 91 EB Falcon, and of course Alan Moffat was driving it, and I think it was the first year Synovus jumped on board with him, and they had the Banana Boat Synovus EB Falcon entry, and boy, it's a beautiful livery, isn't it?
Very striking. It's yellow. It stands out. It's got the black accents. It definitely catches your eye.
Yeah, it certainly does, and it's in one piece, so that's a good thing as well. So that is our challenge, hopefully won, and yeah, V8's Online's joined in there saying it's a 93 Synovus Falcon. Well, okay, I don't want to argue with them because they're V8's Online, they should know this stuff. They said 91 was actually the Sierras, so there you go. A couple of years out by the looks of it.
Well, as I said, I was only born in '89, so, but I read an article from, I think it was the V8 Sleuth. Oh, it would have been 6 months ago. I could have the years wrong.
Yeah, might have the years wrong. It's I was well and truly born by 91. Here we go, folks. We're under random safety car here tonight, so they did call it out. And having a look, we're on lap 8 here, so now we can expect a rush to the pits, that's for sure. But at the moment, it's all been Dane Warren, hasn't it? He's basically led all 8 laps of this race, and once again, unstoppable. It's I just don't know if there's anyone out there that can match this outright pace at the moment. It just does not seem to be the case.
Definitely had full control of this race. Ross Rizzo did catch him for 1 or 2 laps there. He got the gap into, I think it was about 1.7 seconds. But that could have been Dane actually just managing it, managing the gap himself, not pushing too hard. He jumped it out to a 2-second leeway, and I think he was trying to maybe maintain it at roughly that level. He certainly looked very comfortable.
Yeah, he definitely did, and that's the thing, isn't it? A lot of drivers, some drivers will go out and maximise that gap, but some of the more experienced drivers, they'll just manage the gap. You know, it doesn't matter if you win by a second or if you win by 30 at the end of the day. You still win the race, so that's what they'll be looking at. But let's have a look at our top 10 as they stand, folks, and then we'll go through some more of the field to keep you up to date with what's going on out there. So at the moment, Dane Warren is leading this race. He had a gap of 2.1 seconds. Ross Rizzo having a fantastic drive in second in the Huskenveld entry. Then Daniel Ackland is sitting in third at the moment. Marlon McMullen, he's sitting in fourth, and he's leading the championship with Dane Warren trying to close it down. Steve Lattimore sitting in 5th position. We have Nick Cummings in 6th, 7th, Duran Nakora. Then 8th is Thomas McMillan. 9th, Thomas Hines in the Waxit entry. And rounding out our top 10 is a Race on Oz Falcon of Benjamin J. Smith.
Yeah, Benjamin J. Smith, he's very quick in a lot of cars. I reckon he'll probably make a bit of progress to this race. I'm thinking he's a handy operator, and I think 10th. I think he might bump up higher than 10th by the end of this race, I believe.
Yeah, we'll see how he goes. He's in quite a classy field, but he's definitely capable of doing it, that's for sure. Just having a look further down, there's so many drivers down here, 60 cars. I'm actually struggling, folks, just to keep up with it at the moment. But I was looking for where Pete Sattler is, because we were going to actually cross to him live and get his view on this race.
I think he's maybe a couple of spots just behind Benjamin J. Smith at the moment. He's got that white and red livery. I don't know whether my trading packs haven't quite loaded it properly there, Bernie, but sitting in 12th comfortably.
Yeah, we've got him now. We'll cross live to him and see if he can talk one moment. Hi Pete, Bernie here, RRTV Combox, mate. Have you got quick time for a quick chat.
Yeah, mate, no worries at all.
Yeah, we can see you down here in 12th position behind Craig Jones. Did you have you had any close calls out there, or has it been pretty smooth sailing for you?
No, a lot of close calls, mate. It's all sort of centres around that turn one chicane, because you're coming from nearly 300 k's an hour down to about 60, so there's a big concertina effect in there.
Yeah, so how's the V8 Supercar handle around Monza? We were talking about the heavy braking areas. What do you think about this track? Is it well suited to this style of car and this style of racing?
Yeah, I think it is. If you don't have the car right, it can be a nightmare. But yeah, when the car's not too bad or going well, it's quite fun to drive, and the long braking areas allow for good passing opportunities.
Yeah, so looking at your sitting 12th as it is, what's the plan from here? Can you tell us and the viewers, or do you want to keep it under your belt for a bit?
I might keep that one under my belt for a bit. This safety car's sort of thrown a little bit of a spanner, so I'm not sure what to do.
Okay, no worries. Well, we better let you go. I guess you're going to be deciding in this corner whether you're coming in or not, so we should let you work that one out.
No worries, thanks Bernie.
Alright, see you, mate.
Cheers.
So that was Pete Sattler, folks. It sounds like he's not sure what he's going to do here. He's looking, he did the old let's follow him in. Oh, what's he doing? I don't know what he's doing. I think he wanted to go in, and then he went out and then changed his mind. It was too late by then.
Might be a very smart move, Bernie. There's a lot of congestion in that pits right there. He might be actually holding himself up, although that being said, obviously we're under safety car, so that kind of nullifies that a little bit. But he's got track position now, which is important.
Yeah, we're just having a look down here, and you're right, it is quite congested down there, but quite a lot of cars decided to stay out. If we go through those cars, we've got Dane Warren at the moment. Oh my goodness me, this is going to drive me mental tonight, folks. Dane Warren stayed out. He did not take to the pits. Duran Nakora also stayed out. Pete Sattler, he's sitting there third now, and we were just talking to him. Jamie McKnight in the WP Concreting 027 is in fourth. Danny Trim stayed out. So did Daryl Hockey, Cody Trainer, Paul Preston and Christopher Kessie. Wayne Pengilly in 10th. He's the first of the guys that have stopped, and he's driving for Middle Finger Racing.
Christopher Kessie, by staying out, has gone from 32nd to 9th. That's an amazing change in track position just by staying out. If he happens to get another safety car quite quickly after this, which is probably unlikely, he's rolling the dice a little bit, but it may pay off to be a good gamble for him.
Yeah, well, it definitely could be, and it's well worth rolling the dice when you're that deep in a field such as this tonight, and I think that's a good move. Roll the dice now, jump those positions, get up in the top 10, bearing in mind all these guys behind him, they're going to be fighting for position. It's going to be congested coming into the chicanes for the first couple of laps, and if he can try and get a bit of a gap out, fuel save and come in for a quick splash and dash, he might still be better off than where he would have been if he had a pitted.
Getting out of that traffic, Bernie, it's amazing how much traffic, and just having to contend with people in and around those chicanes can actually hold you up from your own true pace. He might be making an excellent move here.
Yeah, definitely, and we'll see how that pans out. Having a look further in the field here, the 0112, he's up 9 positions from where he started. This is Matt Torkins in 42nd position, up 9 from where he started, and that includes a trip to pit lane to get that car repaired.
Well, that's remarkable. Obviously, he's probably used his fast repair at that point in time, I would imagine. But if he keeps making good progress, maybe he took tyres when he did his fast repair as well. He might have better tyres than the guys around him. Not entirely sure, but he has an opportunity now to make up places, which is fantastic.
Yeah, it certainly is. You can see that big train of V8 supercars coming through now, and as AOSC tradition goes, safety car will be in this time by, and we'll be back to racing here. We're on lap 10 of 26 here, folks, so expect a 16-lap sprint race from here on out. So Dane Warren has control. He goes on green now, and as we said, during the quarter, Pete Sattler, he stayed out and he's coming in third. Let's see what he can do from this position. But looking further back, it's huge field once again. Hold on to your hats. Here they go, 3 wide into, we've got the Synovus car, Tom Kleeman into the wall hard, and that puts paid to the Synovus entry. We've also got the West End Mazda turned, and as always, the chicane is causing our drivers problems.
Yeah, it's still going on. They're still trying to recover from that accident now there, Bernie. The Synovus car's just got back on. He's waiting to clear the field before he recommences racing, although I think he might be, yes, he has escaped back to pit lane. But back up the front, Dane Warren, I don't think he's actually getting, he's made a great start, he's made a good couple of first corners, but Duran Nakora is right there within half a second of him.
Yeah, we'll see what he can do. His strength is, once he gets into the rhythm, he can pump these laps out all night. But yeah, Jura Nakora, the 808 right behind him. Pete Sattler in third, as we said. Jamie McKnight, he's in the WP Concreting, having a good run here, up in fourth position, and he's got his teammate behind him, Danny Trim, in the sister car. Now, Danny normally runs in the NASCAR Thursday night Thunder trucks, and of course he loves racing them, and he also loves racing this. And when I spoke to him about it, he was saying he uses the trucks as a practice for the V8 supercars.
V8 engine, they sound great, they look mean. I can understand the attraction definitely, and it's the V8 trucks definitely, they're big, they're heavy, they've got maybe 4 brakes, you could say. So definitely there's some similarities between the cars.
Yeah, they've both got roofs. We've got another car around, the MFR car. I think that might have been Wayne Bengilly, up on 2 wheels, and around he goes. But have a look at Craig Jones's Pagnian Import sponsored Falcon here. It's missing the front, and he's, I don't know what you call this. It's who's he got on the outside? Thomas Hines. I reckon if you got those 2 cars, put them together, you might have one complete car.
They're going too wide. It's a bit of a mega pack going on here. There's got to be at least a dozen or so cars within a tenth of each other. There's someone on the side of the road there, actually.
Yeah, it's the chicanes here. They really cause havoc. And we're looking back now from Thomas Hines. We can see Sean Thompson, great start here, 14th position. He's dropped 9 from where he started, and that car's seen better days, but you can just see the dust all over the front of it. But Benjamin Smith, we were talking him up earlier, weren't we? But check out his car now. It's missing the front and missing the boot. Yeah, it's definitely seen better days.
Yeah, I think he's been involved in a greatest hit, I think. But yeah, he's obviously met with some front and rear contact at some point, so that's obviously going to hamper his progress for the rest of the race here. I think there's a pass being thrown further back in the pack, or sorry, no, it actually that was back with Harry King, I believe. Henry King, I should apologise. Definitely going too wide at the moment with Parabolica just behind him, in fact. Yeah,
and Henry's sitting in 20th now, dropped 6 positions in that beautifully presented Zuva entry. He loves his paint jobs, this guy, and he's really settled on this one. But the 947 ahead of him, Tyler Blackburn, have a look at that. The Tickford entry, it's there's a lot of walking wounded out there, and we're just at 50% mark. But let's jump up to the front and have a look at this lead, because as you were saying, Dane Warren, he's not getting away. It was 7 thousandths or 700ths of a second last time by. Duran Nakora, he's sticking with him. He's taken Pete Sattler along as well, and we might have a bit of a race on our hands here.
I think so. Duran Nakora's obviously made a very strong move in staying out with Dane Warren. He's obviously gained some track position from that, and he's right in with the race. He's right up there with the race with the guy who's second in the championship. So obviously he's made a very smart move. He knew he had some car pace, and he's trying to make advantage of that.
Certainly is, but keep this noted, folks. The car we have to keep an eye on is Ross Rizzo, the 784. He's down in 6th position. The reason we've got to keep an eye on him is the first car to stop here tonight. We know the others have to make a stop. He's currently 9 seconds down. So what Dane and Duran and Pete and Jamie and Daniel all need to do is they have to go for it, and they have to maximise this gap, because when they come in, they're coming in under green, and they're going to have a big enough gap that they can get out in front of Ross Rizzo.
I think we've got a car down pit lane at the moment. It's car 41. Car 41 in pit lane at the moment. I'm just trying to find who that would be. It's Philip Piggott. He's just made his way down pit lane at the moment to take service.
Yeah, we see him coming in now, and we'll have a look at how long he's in there for, because this is going to tell us exactly how this race is going to unfold, because having these guys not pit under yellow, they are definitely behind the 8 ball here, and they're going to have to maximise, as I said, that gap. It's still sitting at 9.75 seconds. He's got Marlon McMullen behind him as well, and Marlon has pitted. He's leading the championship, trying to minimise this charge that Dane Warren has been making over the previous rounds. So I think Marlon is probably in a better position than Dane Warren is at this stage.
Yeah, very smart move. Obviously, we thought that safety car might cause a bit of indifference in the field. Some people were going to pit, some people weren't, some people were going to go gamble. And I think Marlon is actually it looks as if he might have picked the right option.
Yeah, definitely, and he's now making a move on Ross Rizzo. Now these guys don't want to fight too hard because they don't want to get held up here, and we can just see now Marlon McMullen makes that move through and moves up to 6th position, and now we can see what he can do. But the reason I was saying they don't want to fight is they've got to minimise this gap, and the gap now, as they go through, it's extended out to 10.5 seconds. So we can see Dane Warren further ahead now, and he's now just getting that gap. He's focusing on hot lapping at this point in time, folks, and this is what he does so well, Adam.
Yeah, he just did a lap time, Dane Warren, of 1 minute 48.7, which is only half a second slower than his fastest lap of the race. He was the fastest person on the track, and that's what he needs to do right now. He needs to be the fastest person on the track, knowing that he's going to have to pit under green.
Exactly right, and if we look at his lap times, his previous lap 1:48.711, the fastest lap is at 1:48.207 that he set. If we go back to Marlon McMullen, he was in the low 1:49s, but his fastest lap was a 1:48.203, so he's got the pace on Dane, and now he's if he can get that gap going and not fight with Ross Rizzo too much, we can see what this Holden is capable of.
Ross is still hanging on there with Marlon McMullen, though. He's actually having had a bit of a look there into Ascari. So a bit of slipstreaming going on here. Obviously, Marlon's got a lot of clean air in front of him, so he can try and leverage that pace that he's got. But he may actually bring Ross with him as well.
Well, he may do. It'd be interesting to see if they're on the radio to each other. And, we've got a big car around in the pits. Chaos has ensued, one could say. I'm just trying to work it out. I think it was...
Duran.
Sorry?
I think it's Duran Nakora that ended up around, I believe.
Yeah, it was Duran Nakora as they came into the pit. So let's jump back and have a look at this. You can see Dane Warren is in. And we'll just have a look at what's occurred here, folks. See Duran coming in now. He's decided, I think, fairly late to take to the pits. He's reacted when he's seen Dane, and basically he's reacted late, come in under brakes, onto the grass, around he goes, and straight into pit wall. And he was lucky the car behind him did not collect him. You can see Danny Trim. He's also deciding what's he going to do, coming in or not. Yes, he is, but he was waiting to bail in case that pit lane was not cleared.
Peter Sattler did a fantastic job to actually avoid all of that. He was in a commanding position, or a very good position, before he pitted, and his reaction skills were excellent to avoid that wreck there.
Yeah, it was really good, wasn't it? Because he was, of course, right behind him, following him in, and I tell you what, when that occurs, you'd have to be hoping that car clears or a gap appears, and that's exactly what happened. But meanwhile, up front now, Jamie McKnight for WP Concrete is leading. We'll see if he comes in this time. If he does, the lead will go back to Marlon McMullen. No, Jamie's decided he's going to stay out there for a bit and get some leading laps under his belt, and his sponsors on the TV, which is always a good thing.
The WPC concreting car looks immaculate. It's actually really clean. I don't think it's got any dings on it whatsoever. So Jamie's done a fantastic job there to navigate his car in such a clean way tonight.
He certainly has, and then it goes back to Marlon McMullen, who in this championship fight is now leading this race. If we go back to where Dane Warren is, we were saying, it's going to hurt when he comes out. He is absolutely buried in this field at the moment, 26th position and 9 laps to go. So this might be the night that the charge of Dane Warren ends, because he's been absolutely dominant as leading into this. We're looking at his hit rate, 60% hit rate in this series of taking the win, 80% hit rate of coming in the top 10. But tonight he's well and truly out of it, isn't he? 26th position here, Adam.
I don't know how he's going to make up these positions. It's certainly going to be interesting to watch him try. Obviously he's got pace, so he's going to be passing people, and I think it's going to be spectacular to watch. But consistency wins championships, and this might be the little blip on the radar that might just cost him, I think.
Yeah, well, Marlon's still got that big gap, and we saw that at the start, but Dane was closing it down. I think there was 480 points difference. I don't think Dane could ever close that in the time. Well, we're just in part 2 of this, and we're running till March, so it's a possibility. But a race like this tonight, if he doesn't get a better result, it's going to cost him. See now, Jamie McKnight, he's coming in for service and take his mandatory stop. He will hand the lead over now to Ross Rizzo, as Ross Rizzo, Marlon McMullen go too wide down the front straight. And what's Marlon going to do? Deep under brakes. He's right on the limit of brake adhesion there. He pulls it up. Great drive there, and takes back the lead.
Yeah, fantastic passing position, pass 4 position there from Marlon McMullen. Remarkable fuel economy from Jamie McKnight. He got the best part of 18 laps out of a tank here. Obviously the safety cars helped, but that's a remarkable fuel economy.
Yeah, it was pretty good, wasn't it? And we'll see where he comes out. I'd say he's going to be down there in, probably about 28th, 29th by the time he joins. Well, he's still in there. He's down to 31st at the moment and still taking service.
Yeah, it'll be hard to see now maybe, but we'll see how it all shakes out in the time in a moment. Obviously this battle up front, they're very close, they're within a tenth of each other. It's actually quite interesting to watch. Ross obviously got the advantage of having a bit of a slipstream there, so Marlon's having to work very hard to stay in front.
Yeah, and while the battle goes on up there, folks, we're jumping back to 10th position. We're on board here with Sean Thompson, and can just see him hard at work in the office, and he's trying to close down Tyler Blackburn and Nick Cummings. Nick's ahead of him. If you can spot what livery that guy's running from this angle, then I'd definitely give you a prize. because there's not much left of that car. But as we were saying, the modelling of the V8 Supercar and iRacing at the moment is a bit bizarre. When they're carrying this much damage, they can be very competitive, as we see now. Nick Cummings has decided to bring that car in.
Yeah, I heard Nick on the server chat earlier saying that he had a lot of damage. He's actually jumped out and quick-towed that car now, so that might be his night done potentially. But yeah, he was apologising to people for the damage. Obviously, he's had a rough night.
Well, I don't think he's the only one out there having a rough night. We can see Benjamin Smith, Tyler Blackburn, the race of the walking wounded here for 7th and 8th position. And this is what I was saying. Have a look at this. These two cars are absolutely trashed as far as body panels go. The car behind him, Sean Thompson, he should be driving on by these guys, and because he's in a very nicely presented Waxit Commodore here. But just have a look at it. He's pretty much doing the same pace these other guys are doing, and not making inroads on it.
Yeah, it's quite remarkable. That car's, the Waxit car there from Sean Thompson, is almost pristine, whereas the two cars ahead of him, which is a race on Oz, I believe, the two teammates, in fact, from what I can tell, yeah, both missing bonnets and boot lids as well.
Yeah, definitely, and just a bit of a shout out to all the guys out there watching on our chat channel. I hope you're enjoying the V8 Supercar action here of the Australian Onlne Supercar Championship Round 14 of Monza. If you are liking it, folks, give us a thumbs up, and if you're not liking our coverage, let us know why, so we can improve it. Just give us a comment, and we'll see what we can do to make your viewing experience more enjoyable.
Sean Thompson just locks it up on in the way into the pits now, so that would be, I believe, his compulsory pit stop. Yes, so he's only just coming in now, lap 21. That's quite remarkable.
Certainly is, and the other car that has not stopped at the moment, folks, is he's in 11th position. That's Abhi Putra. We normally see him running in the Sim Races Asia, and he's decided it's time to have a bit more of a permanent drive in the V8 Supercars, and it's great to see him out here. He really showed his talents last week in the Enduro. This week he's showing it in the Sprint. He's sitting in 17th position, and he's up 10 from where he started, and driving quite competitively, so good on you, Abhi.
Yeah, from 29th on the grid too. I think he's actually streaming tonight as well. I saw a video, I think it was from him earlier tonight, streaming the practice. So yeah, he's doing a great job.
Yeah, he certainly is, and good to see him there. Another car, there's a number of cars that haven't stopped further down. Christopher Kessie, Troy Allen, Paul Preston. But meanwhile up front, folks, the battle continues here. Marlon McMullen versus Ross Rizzo, Daniel Ackland, first, second, third. Dane Warren now, he's on the march. Have a look at this, Adam. Back here in 15th position now. He was 26 a couple of laps ago. He's not taking any prisoners as he's trying to round up Brenton O'Brien. He does. And man, is he on the march forward here.
Yeah, just in that sentence, he went from 15th up to 13th, and he's just about, I think, to make another move here as well. We thought this would happen, and it is happening. He's obviously making a big charge forward. He wants to get as far forward as he can to minimise the damage. He's doing a great job of it too.
He certainly is, and that was his teammate Daniel Williams, who we just passed, and on the march forward, no doubt Daniel would know what Dane is trying to do. They'd be on the radio, and he's let him through, I'd say. But yeah, these guys are having a great run. Normally Daniel and Dane, they partner up in the Enduros, so no doubt they'd be working. But yeah, 13th position, he's got now 6-second gap to try and close in on Jacob Knight in the FRA sponsored Holden.
Yeah, big pack of there's also Jacob, but there's also 3 other cars in front of him and a little battle pack there. So if Dane can cross the gap and get to that battle pack, there's positions to be had right there.
It certainly is, and leading this battle pack, folks, we've got Brian Borg. He's battling it out at the moment. He's got 2 car lengths over Kai Sloggett in the MFR sponsored Commodore there. Jacob Knight, as we're saying, is involved in that, or he's trying to get involved in that as well. Then, of course, Dane Warren is starting to close in. And, of course, he's trying to minimise the damage of this pit strategy that's unfolding before us. But meanwhile, 5 laps remaining here. Marlon McMullen, Ross Rizzo continue trading blows here, and it's still anyone's race. They have dropped Daniel Ackland, and Daniel's down in 5th. What's going on with him? He's pulled it up. Let's have a look at the replay.
I've got a sneaking suspicion he's either blown an engine or something odd's happened there for sure.
Yeah, he's blown it on downshift.
Quite remarkable.
Yeah, so that's an engine gone for Daniel Ackland, and depending if he's used that fast repair or not, it's his race over. But he's decided to pull it up, didn't he? He didn't even try to limp it to the pits, and that car is now getting towed back.
He was in such a great position as well, Bernie. He'd be quite upset with that. It's an easy thing to do in these V8 supercars. You can grab a gear and you can over rev the engine too much. He'd be pretty upset with that, I'd imagine.
Definitely, because he was in an awesome position, wasn't he? But meanwhile, now Ross Rizzo and Marlon McMullen have cleared out the gap. 7 seconds back to Steve Lattimore, first of the walking wounded. That car doesn't look so bad compared to some of the others, but he's in 3rd. Then the gap further back to Thomas McMillan in 4th position. Craig Jones, he's sitting in 5th. These cars are stringing right out now. Tyler Blackburn 6th, 7th is Ben Twydale. Then we have Benjamin Smith in 8th. Staying on this, folks, Brian Borg 9th, 10th is Kai Sloggett, 11th Jacob Knight, and then Dane Warren. He's closed this gap down to probably around about 2.5 seconds. It was 6 seconds last time they went through. 3 laps remaining. Bets are open. How far can Dane Warren get by the end of this race?
I think he might, if he's opportunistic, he might actually get up to inside the top 10. Coincidentally, he just set the fastest lap of the race on lap 22, which was a 1:47.8, which is really fast. It's actually a lot faster than what the leaders are doing at the moment.
Yeah, it certainly is. And if you look at the lap time he did, 1:47.8. Kai Sloggett ahead of him did a 1:49.4. So he's going to catch them. He already has caught them. The question is, how quickly can he clear them, if he can clear them? And, well, he's going to have to, as he now goes on the inside. And I tell you what, there wasn't a lot of room between the WP concreting entry and the Rack Corp entry that time through.
And that can be a very tricky place to pass. You can run out of room really quick if someone wants to get the elbows out. But they were both pretty sensible there, gave each other room. And obviously the people around Dwayne obviously know that he's on a bit of a charge. He's out of position to where he normally is. And that was sensible driving and a great pass.
Yeah, it certainly was. And you can see now Marlon McMullen coming up to put a lap down on one of the PRA entries. These two are fighting for position as they go for a move. That's Kessie 3 wide in there, and the other car, the West End Mazda entry, backs out of it, but it was getting a little bit messy there.
Well, I had to hold my breath then. I saw something happening then that was not going to be pleasant for anyone. Going 3 wide there with lap traffic was obviously, no one wanted to do that, and I think Ross now is right on his bumper bar. He might be able to, yes, and Marlon actually goes defensive. I thought that might happen.
Yeah, as they go in now, it's the battle of the brakes. Just look at the WP concreting car moving under brakes as he maximises the braking threshold on that car. But once again, Ross Rizzo trying to work out where he's going to make a move, and we've got 2 laps remaining here.
Yeah, definitely crunch time. He's looking around the outside at... he had a look. I think this is going to heat up pretty good. I mean, 2 laps to go. Ross knows he needs to make a move pretty soon if he wants to make it stick. There's a couple of good passing opportunities. He's right on his bumper bar. I think this is going to get very interesting to watch.
Yeah, it certainly is. Ross is looking hungry for a win here, and meanwhile, if we look at the March of Dane, as we can call it, almost have a song made of that, he's up to 10th position now, trying to close in on Brian Borg in the man entry just ahead of him.
Yeah, that's that man entry. It reminds me of a DJR livery, but definitely I think he might get Brian here. He's getting very close. He might have a look into Lesmo too. Ooh, that was very close. I thought he almost even made rear bumper contact there, but he's probably going to have a look at Ascari now. He's definitely all over Brian.
See him now having a look on the outside, and too wide here. Let's have a look under brakes. What's Brian going to do? He's going to argue the point, and Dane is not going to have anything to do with that as he snatches another position and presses forward, although I don't know if it's over with yet. Bit of a messy exit, but now it is as he eyes forward and presses on. But now have a look at this down the last lap. Ross Rizzo, Marlon McMullen almost touching. Once again under brakes, Marlon goes deep, he holds out Ross, and I tell you what, they're running out of laps here. This could be Marlon's race.
There's a lap traffic coming as well. There's a car that is going to have to yield to these two leaders, and hopefully doesn't get in the fight here.
Yeah, he stepped aside now, and that was one of the MFR cars. Smoke ahead. Whenever you see that under heavy braking, you've got to wonder if the track's going to be clear, but it is. And they continue on as rocks fly out of Marlon McMullen's car, and as he's got his head down, trying to go for a victory here at Monza.
Got a little bit of breathing room, only maybe a car length and a half maybe. He's got to really concentrate on the final couple of turns, making them nice and clean and mistake-free. Fair bit of pressure going on Marlon here. I think he's looking pretty good, but he's going to have to concentrate really hard.
Yeah, definitely, and you can see now, under braking, the WP concreting Holden doesn't look as planted as Ross Rizzo's does, but time is running out now. What's Ross going to do here? He's looking for the draft. Is he going to have a crack? I would. Let's see if he does. He's being pushed to forced to the outside here, going for an over-under too wide. Marlon's not going to allow him to do that, holding him on the outside of the corner here as they're getting a run. Still anyone's race. Marlon covers him off. It looks like Marlon McMullen's going to take this win.
Imagine the margin is going to be very, very tight. Yes, it is less than a tenth of a second. That is super impressive. I think the pair of them can be congratulated on a fantastic race.
Definitely they were going hard, but they weren't rubbing panels at all, were they? Fantastic driving. You'd see Thomas McMillan come through for fourth, Craig Jones in the Pagnian-sponsored entry in fifth, sixth, Ben Twydale. Then we had Benjamin Smith, Dane Warren. He comes through, he's happy with that, as we can see him now decided to take up drifting, which of course becomes a tradition in V8 supercars here on iRacing, and he decides to go backwards. Nicely played there, Mr. Warren. So, as he continues on, he got up to 8th position at the end of that.
Remarkable. What a charge. He was 26th at one point after the pit stops, and I thought he was going to be really struggling. I thought maybe top 10 might be the best he can do, but that's a remarkable finish.
Oh, it certainly is. He took those positions in 13 laps.
That has to be better than won a car, I think, wouldn't it be? A 20, maybe not quite. Yeah, it would be. It would be better than a car a lap. That's quite amazing.
Certainly, we'll actually try to get a gap on what that was to the lead, but don't take anything away. That's a well-deserved win by Marlon McMullen there. He was chased to the line by Ross Rizzo under a heap of pressure, and he wasn't flustered one bit, was he? You could see as he was going defensive, he knew what Ross wanted to do, and that was to get under him, and he wasn't going to let that happen. He held him out wide and held on for the win.
Great composure from Marlon McMullen. He actually positioned his car bang on perfect. It is possible to be too defensive, and he was perfect in that scenario.
Yeah, exactly right. It's all about positioning that car, and that's what motor racing is, isn't it? It's a high speed game of chess, if we want to use a cliche here on RRTV. Wouldn't be the first time. And wrong button again. Boy, it's messy broadcast tonight. Messy. So anyway, let's go through the final positions. As we can see now, Marlon McMullen bringing that car home. Say he's run out of fuel, and he's just... Has he run out of fuel? Maybe he hasn't. I think he's just waiting for his teammate to come through.
Be a good screenshot opportunity for the sponsors. Yeah, they're just parking up now, I think, or maybe not.
No, Mr. McKnight's decided he's going to let those tyres go home. But we can see now Marlon McMullen does the victory donut here at Monza. Well-deserved win, and yeah, great to see him celebrating out there.
Fantastic composure. I think he did a marvellous job. He pitted at the exact right time. He showed great composure in defending the lead, and he had excellent pace as well. And they're the hallmarks of a great win.
Yeah, they certainly are, and that's going to extend his lead. It was 480 points, so that's going to be extending it further now, that's for sure. And I don't have the points here, but we'll definitely look at that next week, folks. Let's have a look at our final race results, though. Marlon McMullen takes the win tonight, up 5 positions from where he started. He led 8 of those laps tonight. Ross Rizzo, he comes home in second, very close, well, extremely close. Steve Lattimore third. Thomas McMillan finishes in fourth. Craig Jones fifth. Coming home in sixth tonight was Tyler Blackburn. Look at that, up 17 positions from where he started. Seventh was Ben Twydale. Eighth, Benjamin Smith in that very, very wounded Race on Oz Falcon. Dane Warren comes home in ninth position, dropping 8 from where he started. He led 13, so he led 50% of this race, and it was the pit strategy, I think, which is what let him down tonight, and no doubt him and the team, they'll be reviewing that decision to leave him out and seeing what they can do better next time. Brian Borg, he comes home in 10th. 11th was Kai Sloggett, and your top 12 was Daniel Williams. He dropped 5 positions from where he started tonight.
Yeah, another mover and shaker was Kyle Sloggett. He went up 10 positions. That's quite remarkable. And a little bit further down the field is another remarkable effort by Jaden Borg, up 18 positions as well, into 15th. So, yeah, there's definitely a lot of moving within the field. There's a lot of carnage, unfortunately, but that meant that others could take advantage and move up the field.
Yeah, definitely. We'll continue through the field here. We've got 60 cars here, folks, so bear with us. Jacob Knight, he comes home in 13th. 14th, Pete Sattler. We spoke to him before, and he pretty much finished where he started. Jaden Borg, as you were saying, up 18 positions. Abby Putra from Asia, up 12 to come home in 16th. 17th, Mark Samuel. Jamie McKnight, he comes home in 18th. 19th, David Kinmond. Thomas Hinds dropping 12 positions to come home in 20th. 21st was Danny Trim. Then we have Shannon Mason up 18 positions to finish in 22nd. 23rd, Daryl Hockey. 24th was Henry King. Home in 25th, look at Daniel Stevens, up 27 positions. It would have been an exciting ride in his car, that's for sure. 26, Paul Preston. Daniel Ackland drops 24 to come home in 27th. Stephen Varga, 28th. Brendan Jackson, 29th. Brenton O'Brien up 14 positions to finish in 30th. Nathan Tregarthen, 31st. Troy Allen, 32nd. Kyle Stokes, he comes home in 33rd. 34th is Wayne Taylor. Philip Piggott in 35th. 36, up 12 positions, is David Miller. Home in 37th was Wayne Pengilly. Then we had Matt Torkins home in 38th. 39th, Matt Morris, followed by Tony Gaffer. 41st is Christopher Kessie. Then Duran Nakora dropping 33 positions to finish in 42nd. 43rd, Paul Tajavara. Sean Thompson finished 44th. Cody Trainer 45th, followed by Nick Cummings, who dropped 44 positions. 47th, Jason Bentz. 48th, Matt Lepoidovan. 49th was Tom Kleeman. Then we had Liam Tipping in 50th. 51st, James Scott. Matt Clote, 52nd. 53rd was Matt Morris. And then we have the non-classified drivers below that.
Massive field tonight, Bernie. That just reading those names out, it must sound so amazing to have so many cars on track.
Yeah, it's a huge turnout here. The track must have been just about at capacity here at Monza, that's for sure. I'm not sure how many they can fit, but we had 60 in the server tonight. Looking at it, we had 53 take to the grid with 6 non-starters. But we do have our race winner in the green room, folks, and that is Marlon McMullen. We'll bring him up now, and we'll have a bit of a chat.
User was moved to your channel.
Hi Marlon, welcome to RRTV's Combox, mate, and first off, congratulations on a very hard fought race tonight and a victory here at Monza.
Yeah, g'day guys, thank you so much. What an awesome race.
It was absolutely awesome, and we're watching you positioning your car there, and you're doing it absolutely perfectly. Coming into the last corner there, we saw you going on the inside, forcing Ross to take it on the outside, but then holding him out there and making sure you could command the track to the finish line.
Yeah, I mean, I got to say, top job done to Ross. He did really well. He pushed me all the way to the end, and we were really lucky when that safety car came out when it did, because I was out there on that lap, behind the safety car, desperately counting on my fingers, 5, 10, 15, 20, just trying to figure out, do I have enough fuel to get home from here? Well, I need to save a bit of fuel, and yeah, it started to appear that we needed to save that little bit of fuel, so a bit more towards the end, and he was really putting the pressure on me in the draft. So you're trying to save a little bit of fuel, and he's also, pushing you, so you're sort of using a bit more. But yeah, he really got me towards the end when I really had to save a bit more. And yeah, he raced me really well, and he got by me. But I'm not sure how I managed to pull up one of those supersonic braking moves. But yeah, I was really stoked that I was able to pull it up like Danny Ricciardo a few weeks ago at Monza there. So it was a really great race.
Yeah, we're watching your Commodore there dancing, so to speak, under brakes there. You must have been on full brake threshold coming into those chicanes, because the rear end was just starting to, you could just see it fighting for traction as you were pulling it up.
Yeah, I got to admit, I haven't really felt like the setup's all the way there. I haven't been able to get the braking package the way I sort of want it. I mean, I like it a little bit taily like a MotoGP bike, but there was points in that race where it was a little bit too much, and then it was good again, and it's sort of hard to get that balance, between the springs and then all that. So, yeah, working on it, see if we can come up with a good package for the Monday night soft. But other than that, I was really proud of that race. It was an awesome race.
Yeah, it certainly was. And yeah, under brakes, Ross's car looked a lot sort of more planted, I guess, better set up under brakes, less twitchy. But yeah, you held on to him. Looking back at that pit stop, under safety car there, were you aware that, well, you would have been aware that Dane stayed out. Were you tempted to follow him, or did you think he had made a mistake at that point?
I was about 5 seconds away from following him, but then I sort of went with the gut instinct. I mean, I calculated it about 20 seconds, as I said, 5, 10, 15, 20. So you don't know if you're going to sort of make it or not. And it was a roll of the dice decision, honestly, just to come in. And I started to realise all the other guys came in as well. And I thought, if there's not going to be another safety car towards the end, he's got to pit. He's going to have to pit under green. So, yeah, I'm not too sure where he finished in the end, but, you rather sort of pit under the safety car if you can make it. And it's just one of those days where, I was lucky to get the strategy right.
Yeah, it was a tricky call, that's for sure. We were talking to Pete Sattler in the cockpit at the time. We crossed to him live, and even when we were coming towards the pits, when we left the interview, he was still scratching his head of whether he was going to come in or not. Even when we watched him, he was half, you could see the car, am I going, am I not? He stayed out and paid the price, of course. But yeah, it was an interesting race once again. These random safety cars, they definitely add to the strategy of these races.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, it's always going to be one of those roll of the dice decisions. But at the end of the day, I think I was only about 2 or 3 laps off my pit stop anyway from the normal allocated, sort of area. So I sort of knew I could probably save. It's going to be tight, but I could probably just save it. And yeah, I got to give it to Ross. I don't know how much fuel he was able to save. Maybe it was in the draft and all that, but he did well to push me all the way towards the end.
Yeah, he certainly did. He was throwing everything he could at you, wasn't he? I reckon if he had a kitchen sink, he probably would have leaned out and thrown that at you too.
No, he did. He raced awesome. Was nice and clean, and we both gave each other a bit of room. Always tricky with the traffic, and you got your eyes set on one car to pass, and then all of a sudden another car shoots out, and you just want to get by all these guys nice and safely, and try and resume your battle, towards the gap that it was previous. So. Yeah, he's a really great racer. I really enjoyed racing with him. And even Daniel, really commiserations towards him. He raced so well, and he called that strategy right as well. And it's a bit of a shame to see Ackers, come off second best. But yeah, tough track to finish this one, I got to say.
Yeah, poor old Ackers blew his motor on a downshift there, which cost him that position. But yeah, we're commenting during the broadcast there how hard you and Ross were racing, but you were showing pretty much how high quality both you drivers are and the respect you have for each other, because although you're racing probably 10 tenths against each other, there wasn't any trading of paint or any of that stuff. You're giving each other room, and you're very sportsmanlike in that regard. So yeah, my hat goes off to both you and Ross for not only racing hard but putting on a fantastic show here for all the viewers on RRTV.
Thanks, Bernie. I appreciate it, and I'm one of those guys that really loves their racing. It's a shame I don't get to do it for real, but I try really hard to have a nice clean battle and try and put on some nice footage for the broadcast. You're not always going to be able to have a great clean battle, but at the end of the day, 9 out of 10 times I just seem to always come out there with a smile on my face, and a battle like that, even able to get the win. Even if I was second, I would have been just stoked, because that was some awesome racing. And there's not many guys you can race in this series, really clean laps, lap to lap, side by side, and I love that stuff. It really makes me super happy.
Yeah, it's awesome, isn't it? And that's a good thing about league racing, like AOSC and V8 Scops. You guys race against each other week in, week out, so you would get to know who you can trust on track and who you've got to be a bit more wary about, which is, that's what I love about this style of close competition racing. It's a bit like what you'd get in the real world, wouldn't it?
Oh, most definitely. The guys, at the end of the day, they don't get. Some of them get to do it for real, some don't. But at the end of the day, the guys that do it for real and the guys that don't, they're about the pace that they are in the game. So give them a shot in the car. Maybe they'll do good in real life, but at the end of the day, to get to the top and stay at the top, it takes a lot of practice. All the guys will tell you that at the front, and you just got to stay clean, try and just learn. At the end of the day, if you finish your races more, you're more likely to learn a bit more. And I've been lucky over the last few years to really have some time to practice and develop my style. And at the end of the day, I love racing clean and all that, and to get out there and have races like that, that's what you race for. So really happy to come away with the win tonight.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, I'm going to hand you over to Adam Briggs, and go easy on him, Marlon. This is his first time commentating, so don't scare him off, all right?
You'll be fine.
Good afternoon, Marlon. How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. How about yourself?
Really good. It was great to see that you raced there, and congratulations on the win. I think you did a fantastic job. What went through your mind there with Ross right on? You must have been telling yourself to be composed in those last couple of laps. It must have been difficult to keep that focus.
Yeah, I mean, it was about 10, 15 laps. I really felt I had the pace over him, but I really started to realise I needed to save a little bit more fuel, and the gap that I had was great, but if I had to save a little bit more fuel, I'm going to lose that little bit more of a gap. And I think I don't know if he was able to sort of sense it, but he really started to capitalise, and those extra 2 attempts that he got over the course of those last 5 laps really was enabled him to suck up right behind me in the draft, even though I think he had a little bit of damage on the front end. So at the end of the day, it just shows you race as hard as you can, but that draft, if you can't break it, he's going to be an absolute nuisance over the back of me. And all you can do at the end of the day is just take a big deep breath, just pray that you don't get a slowdown, hope that you don't get a bad run off the curbs, just, sort of drive a bit slower than, over sort of drive it. And yeah, at the end of the day, it's hard, trying to just keep the tyres in check and all that. But yeah, I don't know. I was just lucky to get away with that one today. I felt like the brakes weren't the best on that car. And yeah, some days when you don't have the best setup, you might be able to throw away a win a lot easier than, the hard work that you put in to get it. So I was lucky to get away today with it.
I think you did a fantastic job. Your composure, I think, really set this win up for you. And it was a fantastic battle between Ross and yourself. I think you did a fantastic job to defend it. In having Ross having to save fuel, and then Ross obviously having that advantage of the draft as well. How were the tyres after the race? Did you take tyres during the pits at all? I imagine you might have stayed on the same set, maybe.
No, well, usually when it's over about a 35 litre fill in the tank, we'll always sort of chuck some new booties on, because at the end of the day, you want to have the optimal rubber towards the end, and we already had that hallelujah sort of win with the safety car, and it was just really the thing of, mediating your fuel towards the end. And it was that outlap, coming out of the pits, that I realised I got to use about 1 litre this lap rather than 4.7 litres. Otherwise, those 3 extra litres could have cost me the race towards the end of the race. So your fuel saving right from the get-go, I mean, the guys that came in around you, that they're on the identical strategy. You don't know how good they are at fuel saving, because it varies towards each person. You got to realise, from the get-go, you have to save the fuel, and sometimes the game doesn't tell you that, your fuel's accurate. So it's all these things that you sort of learn from experience. And yeah, I don't know how long Ross has been racing for, but he's really picking it up quick, and yeah, he's done a great job tonight.
Fantastic. That's great. There, Marlon, congratulations once again, and thank you for your time. Bernie, I'll hand you back. Fantastic. Thank you again, Marlon.
You're right. Thank you. Sorry if I rambled on.
That's all good, mate. Now the serious end of the interview. I've got my checklist here. Do you want to give a shout out and thanks to all the sponsors of that's backed you tonight?
Yeah, I've got to say, it's always great having the support of, the whole team at Performance Sim Sports, from every single team member. They really, they were the first ones to congratulate me straight away after the race. And, I've got to thank, WP Concreting. I've got to thank, geez, hang on a second. I haven't done this before. I've been put on the spot here.
Yeah, well, that's about a 30%. Keep on going.
I think Jamie's going to upset me, but West End Mazda, it's all right. I got the image now on my desktop. Who else have we got? I think we got the Imaging Group. Sorry, I think it's AF Imaging or AMF Imaging. Geez, Danny's going to assassinate me post-race. And, they know who they are at the end of the day. As a team, we're really happy to get this. We're not like TDR, TDL and all those front-running teams, but we feel we're more of an Erebus team. So whenever we get up the front, we're sort of not prepared for these scenarios.
Fair enough. Well, tell you what, Marlon, that's the first time tonight I think you've felt really flustered.
I'm boiling. He really pushed me, and it's damn hot in Melbourne at the moment. It's really humid, and I got the new the NBN. It's heating up my room another 2 degrees, so I'm sweltering, honestly.
Yeah, no worries. Well, anyway, mate, thanks for popping in. Congratulations once again on a fantastic drive and a well-earned win. And we look forward to seeing you next week. I think we're getting into another sprint race next week. Might be a 60-60, I'm not sure.
Oh, brilliant. Well, thank you guys for your time. And, I always appreciate the effort you guys put in, and same as Nick and all that. And, yeah, I love the series. It's a great little series to race on the Fridays. And races like tonight, it just shows you, that's what we want to see. So, yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, mate. Well, we look forward to your company next time, and you better go and cool down.
Cheers, all the best. I need a cold bath.
No worries. See you, mate.
Champion, thank you.
User disconnected from your channel.
Okay, our final interview tonight is Jacob Knight, and Jacob came home in 17th position. We'll get a bit of an impression of what it's like deeper in the field.
User was moved to your channel.
Hi Jacob, welcome to the RRTV Combox, and thanks for waiting, mate. We got Marlon's perspective of the race from up the front here. Can you give the viewers a bit of a perspective of what it was like midfield?
G'day guys, g'day everyone. Well, I started 15th, which was pretty good start, and then you would have saw the kerfuffle we had not even before the first corner. I don't know what the hell happened, but it didn't look too good. It didn't sound too good either because one of the drivers wasn't too pleased.
Yeah, we saw that. The accident actually happened. We didn't get the full replay because, of course, with 60 cars, telemetry struggling a bit. But
Absolutely.
yeah, that incident happened just after the pit exit. So we were predicting there was going to be a big incident coming into that chicane, but the field didn't quite get there when it all unfolded. But were you involved in that, or were you further up the field?
I was clear. I was happy.
Yeah, because it claimed we counted probably about 8 cars, but getting past that and surviving that, how did the rest of the race go for you?
Well, lap 8 we were running, I think it was 13th, and I got hit behind from Sean, which that spun me around. Wasn't too happy about that, but that's racing, so I pushed on, and then I believe a few laps after that the random yellow come out. I was lap 10. So I jumped in the pits because I just made the critical number, and to come home in 13th was pretty good. And I will say that lots of fuel saving was required.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that, and I guess if you're deep in the field, like you were, battling for position, we did see you at one point in the back of a quite a good battle pack with Brian Borg, Kai, and Daniel. How do you save fuel when you're fighting for position like that?
Well, I could see the top 10 was right in front of me, but I had to let that go. I mainly cared about trying to keep in the slipstream of drivers, and I was either using an extra gear through the corners or short shifting.
Yeah, well, that would definitely do it. And when you're doing that, how much of a difference did it make in your lap times?
I think I was about a second or a second and a half slower.
Okay. Yeah, but I guess that's a trade-off, isn't it, between getting to the end and fuel saving and having... You would not want to go back in the pits again. We saw a few of the front runners there pit under green and they got absolutely buried by the field.
That was also a good thing how I come in early and I could get that undercut on everyone.
Yeah, exactly right, and probably get a bit of fresh air, which would probably be a rare commodity with 60 V8 supercars running around Monza. So yeah, I've always found Monza a tricky track, and people probably wonder what I mean by that. And what I mean is it's a very fast-flowing track, but you've got some very heavy braking into those chicanes, especially after the start-finish line. The next two, I think that really... well, you tell the viewers how you coped with that sort of thing and how it tested the setup of your car.
I had a pretty good setup tonight, and let's just say every time I was braking for first corner, I was squirming under the rears, and that's always not a good feeling. It's a scary feeling.
Yeah, especially if it starts getting worse as you press the brake further.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think you get to a point where you go, well, I could continue going straight ahead or I could loop it. There must be a fine line, and you must have been almost there tonight.
Well, I was. I'd get down through all the gears, and as I'd get to first, the rear just didn't want to grip.
Yeah, fair enough. Anyway, Jacob, thanks for popping in, mate. But before we go, give a shout out to your team, to your sponsors, and anyone else that helped you get that car onto the grid tonight.
I'd like to thank my team, FRA Motorsport, and my teammate Kyle Stokes. Some sponsors, well, not really a sponsor, but I'd like to thank you, Bernie, for letting us run RRTV on our cars, and Pepsi Max and Exalta. But they're also on my car as well.
Fantastic. Well, it was a well-driven race tonight, and we saw you a bit battling throughout the night. And
it was fun.
Yeah, congratulations, mate. Finishing where you did in a field the size of that we had and the quality of the field.
I'm very pleased with it.
Yeah, it's a good result. So congratulations. next week, I don't know where we are next week for
That's
AOS.
Brazil, I believe. I believe it's a 150 as well.
Okay, another 150, awesome. Yeah, I know the 60-60s are coming, and that's just a night of craziness.
I think our next 60-60 Summit Point, and we've got the Phillip Island Enduros somewhere around there as well. And then I think we've got Bacchus to finish the season off.
Yeah, and that's next year, I think, isn't it?
I think it's before Christmas.
Okay, yeah, all right. There you go. I don't know what I'm talking about. All right, Jacob, thanks, mate, for popping in. See you next week at Brazil, and yeah, well done.
Okay. Cheers, guys. See you, Benny.
User was moved out of your channel.
So, Adam, before we go, mate, this is the first V8 supercar race you've called on RRTV. What were your thoughts on the whole race and how it unfolded?
What an initiation. 62 cars, 53 made the grid, 30 of them finished on the lead lap. Lots of passing, lots of incidents. There was a lot going on. I think I did okay, but it was definitely a baptism of fire. There's improvement to be made, I'm sure, but the racing tonight was excellent. The win tonight by Marlon was excellent. Ross Rizzo, special mention to him, kept the pressure on right to the end of the race, and I think we saw some spectacular fight back from Dane Warren as well.
Yeah, it was absolutely awesome, wasn't it? And the curveballs that the random safety car threw in, and the added strategy and unfolding drama, I think, really added to it. And that's what this series does so well, is add that element to it. But I'd also like to give a big thanks to all the members of the community. One of the viewers asked about the new computer, and that's what we're running here tonight, folks. And I tell you what, we would not be running it tonight without all those kind donations and getting this computer built. But 60 V8 supercars at 1080p, 60 frames a second, and it didn't even blink. So that's fantastic news. And it was a good test for it tonight, and it passed. So that's excellent. So thank you to everyone who contributed towards that campaign to help us replace that hardware.
It's a fabulous thing, Bernie. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity on commentating tonight. I thoroughly enjoyed it. You do an excellent service for the iRacing community, and I think the community supported you in the way that the community does with all good things about our iRacing community here in Australia. And I think it's a real testament to everyone in iRacing in the Australian community how well that was able to be supported and the support they were able to give you. It was fantastic.
Yeah, we're very lucky. We've got a really, really good community in Australia, New Zealand, the Oceania community. I've met quite a few guys up in the Asian iRacing community, and they're all fantastic guys. And it's just, you know, I look at it and I think how lucky we are of being able to hang out with like-minded individuals and support each other. It's great. So yeah, thanks to everyone, and hopefully you've enjoyed the broadcast. But looking at the week ahead, folks, well, it's Friday night and the V8s are finished. Looking through the weekend, RRTV doesn't have anything being broadcast until Monday night, and that'll be the Skip Barber Monday Night Lights, and Alex McKellar will be back. And if you've not watched one of those Skip Barber races, tune in, because we're getting some of the best drivers from around the world. We're constantly in the top 5 top strength of field races. We've taken out the top strength of field for the week in quite a few instances, and it's really interesting, Adam, to see the local lads, Australia New Zealand club, go up against some of the big names through Europe, and just see how competitive they can be, and a lot of them are, and it's a fantastic race series.
We have a car that's highly contested in iRacing. It's the Skip Barber car. It's the Formula Ford, if you will, of iRacing. Everyone has had a crack at learning that car, and it's got a passionate following. And the guys who race it, they really know their stuff. It's really about down to driver craft. There isn't too many setup tweaks you can put into the car. So it makes for incredibly close racing, incredibly competitive racing, and I think it brings the top drivers to the top. And it's a fantastic car to drive, and it's a fantastic car to watch as well.
Yeah, it definitely is. We had we regularly get Benny Simonson come in and run in that series, and we spoke to him, and although he's in real life, he is a racing driver, and on iRacing though, he was telling us he prefers the Skippy, and he comes in just to have a bit of fun, and he, occasionally we see him on the Monday night strength of field race, and it's great to see people like his credentials and experience coming in and joining in the fun, and yeah, it was really good.
You see a few real life races involved in iRacing, and I think that's what makes iRacing so spectacular. Lando Norris was just announced as the McLaren reserve driver, and he's quite regularly in the Porsche races if you're in the right time zone. So iRacing brings a whole community of motorsport loving people together in a common passion, and it's fantastic to see.
Yeah, it certainly is. We see quite a few of the V8 Supercar guys also jumping in and having a run, and it's great. It's makes everyone feel special if they get to race against a real race car driver, and it's good. But anyway, we could rabbit on all night. We won't, because the viewers are all dropping to sleep here. But anyway, folks, that wraps up round 14 of the Monza 150. I hope you've enjoyed tonight's coverage on the RRTV broadcast network, I guess you could say, and thanks to everyone that gave us a thumbs up, and if you liked the video and you want to see more of it, you can always subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you can also catch us on Twitter under RRTV Live, and whenever we're live we always send out a tweet on there as well. But if there's anything you didn't like about our broadcast, by all means send me a message either on iRacing or leave a comment, and I definitely take them all very seriously, because at the end of the day we want to make the best broadcast we can so you can enjoy it the most. So, but until then, Adam, thanks mate for joining us. Hopefully you've enjoyed your time on RRTV doing your first commentary, and I look forward to having you back in the booth very soon.
Hey, Bertie, thank you for having me. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Fantastic. Well, anyway, folks, have a safe weekend. Hopefully we'll have your company again Monday night, but if we don't, we'll catch up with you very soon. But until then, on behalf of Adam Briggs, I'm Bernie Wiemers. Thanks for tuning in to RRTV, and we look forward to your company again shortly. Good night.